Okay, welcome back to the 4Runner videos. Tonight's the big night. We're going to be doing a lot of work. Me and a buddy have been at it. Actually the same night as me finishing the wiring harness, so that's going to be going in the 4Runner. But the first project is going to be getting the 3, 4 all cleaned up. My buddy's been working on getting the valve covers and all that cleaned up. And he's going to be pulling the oil pan off of it now while I clean up the 3-liter oil pan, so that we can get those swapped out. And then we're going to have to maybe do something with where the dipstick's supposed to go, because the older models have a plug and this one does not have a plug. So yeah, gonna have to figure that out, but hopefully that's a minor detail. Gonna get it pulled apart and see what we got to do. So alrighty, got her all torn down, the other oil pan all cleaned up, and this surface all cleaned up. And well, on these newer 3-4 engines where the dipstick should be relocated, there's no longer a plug in them like there is on this engine. You can kind of see, hard to tell, but there's a little nub right there. Maybe I can get down here. Oh, there we go. No, it's a motor mount. Right there. So this nub would get pounded out of here, and then your 3-liter dipstick could go in right there. But I don't have it. And obviously we have to have a dipstick. So I'm going to start figuring out how to drill it, I suppose, and yeah, see what happens. Well, it may seem dumb to drill an engine block, but whew, that is perfect. We'll get her tapped in there after we clean up all the metal shavings and get to reassembling. Definitely a bitch, but hey, you can do whatever needs to be done as long as you're willing. Alright, engine is back, right side up. 3-liter oil pan is on. Got the insert for the dipstick on there. That'll be all good to go. Time to get some motor mounts thrown on here, some valve cover gaskets, some manifolds, and just basically get this ready to go in tomorrow. So, we made great progress last night. Got the whole engine all sealed back up. Got the 3-liter oil pan on. Valve covers are all on. And the biggest fiasco of the night, got that all drilled out. So seeing that in yesterday's video. So today, final touches to it, put the manifolds on, get the crossover pipe on it, throw some engine mounts on here, and gonna plop her on in the 4Runner today, hopefully. And maybe by the end of today we're gonna find out if my wiring harness here is any good. See if I did my homework right, and with any luck, that 3-4 is gonna run in my 4Runner. So let's gonna get right into it here and just get this thing done. Okay, making great progress. You guys are funny. Waddle away! When your friends are watching you film. Anyway, 3/4 is ready to go in. Got everything all mounted up finally. Had to do a little bit of nonsense. If you're gonna try and keep AC, you're gonna have to trim this rear mount to work with your 3/4 or your 3-liter engine mount, just because it's thicker than the 3/4 one. So got to make the difference for that to line up straight. And I gotta go grab the 3/4 power steering pump off my parts truck, but that's a minor detail. This thing is ready to go home. Well, the motor is just about ready to go in, and I ran into one hiccup that I never thought about. I need a pilot bearing. So, O'Reilly's possibly has one in stock. Gonna run there right now and find out. If it's wrong, we are gonna go get some bread and take this one out. So that's probably my only option for getting this in today, but we will see. So, well, got lucky. O'Reilly's had the right bearing, so got the rust cleaned up inside there. Gonna get her tapped in there, and the boys came over just in time to get the engine thrown in, so that's gonna be nice. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh, after one hell of a frickin' struggle, this 3/4 is finally in this 4Runner. Man, I will say that was one hell of a fight, and definitely would not have done it without this guy. Fucking, and Colin, but Colin left. But man, everything honestly went good until we were trying to get the motor mounts in. This one bolt, we could get one in and the other one would just not go. So yeah, that ensued for like an extra hour of fighting this thing, but she's in there, can start buttoning up all the odds and ends, and then hopefully find out if she's gonna run. So, well, we have been making slow, frustrating progress on this darn thing. I will say, this is one tight squeeze of an engine in here, but all the bell housing bolts are in. Brandon's been working on getting all the accessory stuff in here. And yeah, I think next I'm going to work on hooking the fuel lines up, and then hopefully I can start putting the harness on here. So, yeah, slow but steady work, and man, the thing is just quite the little booger. And it's really ironic. For some reason, my starter, it was almost like it had more room to go in with this swap than it ever did with the 3-liter. The 3-liter, I did a starter twice on it, and man, the thing was a bear each time, but who knows? Things slowly getting there. Well, it has been another 1 a.m. night out in the garage, but 3.4 is in the 4Runner. I got all the heater hoses and all that hooked up and routed. I ended up getting rid of my rear heat lines just because, well, I don't really care. They're not necessary. They're kind of rough looking underneath, so they're eventually going to start leaking, so might as well get rid of them now and not worry about them later. So I was able to get this all routed, figured out nicely. It's not going to be in the way of the intake at all. We finished getting the power steering on here. We used the factory power steering pressure line. After I got it on here, I ended up tweaking it so it's at a better angle. Had to bend it up. You got to use the 3.4 power steering pump, and then you use your factory 3-liter banjo bolt. And then probably could have gotten away with the factory return line from the 4Runner, but I had to cut it to get the old pump off. So ended up, you can use the factory 3.4 return line, or maybe, yeah, that's return, maybe. Yeah, that's return. I'm tired and overthinking things. So yeah, you can use the factory 3.4 return line. It's a little bit of a tight 90, but it doesn't kink surprisingly. So yeah, able to get this all in here. What a bear. I'm so thankful for my friends that were over today helping me with it. So yeah, also got the fuel lines all hooked up. My return line, I utilized this factory piece off of the 3.4 and bent it and then clipped. Oh look, my flashlight's dying. I rebent it and then bolted it onto the firewall and was able to then just put the return line on there after I shortened it a little bit. Feed line, factory feed line from the 3-liter down there, bent it at a better angle to come more straight up the firewall. And then I just barbed them together on the firewall here. Everything's just zip tied up against the firewall, nice and out of the way. So, just gotta, that's a big thing to say. Just little details left that are just, gonna take the longest. Gonna start with getting the wiring harness on it tomorrow. And yeah, just, like I said, more little details. But this thing is, it's in here, and I couldn't be happier. These are hard engines to work on in these vehicles because it's so tight. My buddy Brandon got to experience that, and me and him were getting a little upset at it. Mainly me, but she's in there, and man, hopefully find out if it's gonna run within the next few days. Find out if my harness merge is gonna be good. There's so many what ifs. So stay tuned for it. I'm looking forward to getting this project wrapped up.